Hello, everybody! What's up? Oh, wrong meme. Whoa, where's the right meme? There we go. What's up, guys? So today we got a lot to talk about.
And the long story short is that a bunch of big companies had a lot of money in shorting GameStop and them going out of business. And then a community, Wall Street bets, and a bunch of online people got together and started buying out of the stock. And then Robinhood stopped people from being able to buy the stock. In outrage, the users reviewed Robinhood apps on all platforms and are completely destroying Robinhood's rankings. Robinhood has gotten over hundreds of thousands of one-star reviews today alone. Similar outlandishly high metrics as we looked at earlier, looking at how Wall Street bets went from 6 years of growth to get to less than 2 million subscribers to over 5 million subscribers in less than 4 days.
You can actually find a lot of evidence that multiple platforms were completely overwhelmed with historic levels of new users signing up. And it's a really fascinating situation with a lot of great deep ironies, and we're gonna get really into it. First, I'm gonna start by reading you Robinhood's mission statement, all right? Our mission statement. Robinhood's mission is to democratize finance for all. We believe that everyone should have access to the financial markets, so we have built Robinhood from the ground up to make investing friendly, approachable, and understandable for newcomers and experts alike. And this is off of Robinhood's main website. I only read this to you because it's going to become relevant later, right? If you don't know what Robinhood is a much easier way to buy stock. It basically lets anybody buy stock. You don't need to know what you're doing. So it's often had controversy because there have been situations where individuals get in over their heads and lose entire fortunes that they didn't have, and they get totally fucked. And it enables people to do that. And it also enables people to earn money and change their life as well. So there's two sides to that coin, right? And it's something a lot of like day traders and stuff use, because the main thing that makes Robinhood different is that you don't have to pay a fee when you change stock. So let's look at the GameStop stock real quick to get you into the loop. And we're going to look at it from Robinhood. Even though, Robinhood doesn't show you much, but Robinhood's the star of the show today. So, we're going to show you what people are seeing, okay? So, the most important thing to understand is, all right, let's look at that 5-year thing. Look at this. GameStop has historically been losing value consistently, reliably. Look at that. Oh, and by 2019, $4 a share. Ooh, shucks, GameStop. Man. Ooh, blockbustery vibes. Ooh, yeah, all those blockbustery, but what the. And yeah, that's what happened when you can't get any anymore. And this is the star of the controversy. See, we can only sell our shares of GameStop. We can't buy any, right? Meanwhile, the larger players are able to freely move and redistribute their assets. So that's the star of the show. That's the name of the controversy. So let's get into it. Now, Robinhood, remember, is the story of a person who robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. This is the apt, because it's so ironic. And we'll get into all the ironies because they'll be pointed out in vivid detail. But there's one more concept that you really got to understand, and that's what shorting is. And how in the stock market, there's little players, right? Like people who are just normal people, like probably if you're listening to this, like you or me. We're not like on Wall Street. We're not owners of firms. We're not like CEOs and companies, right? And in the past, these people tended to not have any stake in companies. They didn't really have access to stocks in the same way. Whereas nowadays, thanks honestly to things like Robinhood, for better or worse, Robinhood has put stock access to be available to people who wouldn't normally have had it. It's made it more convenient. So you don't need to be as educated. You don't need to go through the system, so to speak, to sell stock. You don't need to get a job with a company that does it. You don't need to be in their network. And obviously this is highly criticized, and traditional stockbrokers usually tend to really dislike it. I'm not. So these people have a lot of money, and one thing that happens as a way for them to earn money off of the stock market is that they invest money in a bet that companies will continue to fail, right? Like they basically, you can bet against a company or for a company, right? So believe it or not, if a stock is losing value, there's actually ways to make money off of a stock that's losing value. And you do that by borrowing a stock from somebody, because when you borrow it from them, for some reason, you can do it under the condition that you give it back as one stock, not as the same value that you borrowed it as. So this enables people, and big people with a lot of money, it enables them to place large amount of money and benefit if a company continues to fail. There's this Wall Street Bets forum on Reddit that at the time had around like 2 million users, okay? And this is relevant because it's very relevant to understand how significantly overwhelmed all of these platforms have been by these events. This is big. It's something that is going to cause huge amounts of regulation and discussion and political stuff. Like, it's really fascinating, and I absolutely encourage you to learn as much as you can about it. It's super, super interesting. Right now, it's like a third of all the trends directly related to the GameStop stock situation. Absolutely fascinating. Huge indicator that a bunch of people are involved and doing things, and it's not over. It's gonna be interesting seeing how this continues. So let's get into the comments, and now I promise I'll stop interrupting so much. Oh no, the Pikachu meme always freezes! God damn it, Putin. Robinhood allows you to take control of your financial future. No, not like that, peasant! You realize that if someone buys GameStop at $300 a share, they could lose 90% of their investment overnight? That is not a good thing. The music will stop, and the price will equilibrate to the value of GameStop, which is not very much. Normal people do not want to be holding the check when that happens. And what is the lesson to be learned here, there? That sometimes the price is an efficient market dislocates by 10% because of an internet meme? What valuable lesson for an investor. Do not transfer your account if moving to a new broker. Open a new account on a different broker and fund it. If you transfer your account, it could be up to 15 days before you are even able to sell your transferred currencies. Robinhood will lock your account during the transfer. I transferred 2 weeks ago and still don't have access to the cash in my account and can't transfer it out. Make sure that people know this. This needs to be the result of our all right now. Don't know how to make it happen personally, but gonna see if linking to Wall Street Bets helps. It's funny that the critics are saying that they're gamblers and the name of the forum is Wall Street Bets. The rich really want to get eaten. Some definitely do. I'm aware at least one ultra-capitalist hedge fund manager who supports retail investors in this situation. I don't agree with him on a lot of topics. He thinks minimum wage is bad. But we do agree that in the case brokers like Robinhood should be punished. Hedge funds responsible for 140% overshort should have to burn. This is something that truly unites people across political spectrum. Just for reference, 140% overshort means that there's 40% illegal behavior going on. But nobody's getting accountable for it, right? But you can see that it's happening. That's just, there you go, quick context. It would take the majority as a whole, all collectively saying together, hey, I'm tired of getting raped and my rights being eroded every day. Let's force them to work for us, or else. Sadly, I don't think the working class are desperate enough yet to be willing to do this. I don't know what that insinuates. The free market is only free until rich people lose money. You know, I always kind of eye-rolled all the sarcastic, oh, the poor billionaires comments before this all played out. But what's going on has flipped me 100%. Imagine thinking that rich people are going to be the ones that end up losing out when the stock tanks and the normies end up losing big time. The narrative that the average man is sticking it to the rich people with GameStop is so hilariously ignorant. Quick interjection! Yo, this is more than the normal man. What we're seeing is some hive-minded, artificial intelligence, neuron stuff that's being done by actual humans in communities, not machines. It's like a bigger intelligence that isn't accountable just to one specific thing, and it's fucking scary and intense, and you gotta learn all you can about it quick.
I don't know that anyone believes this is going to collapse the 1%, but it does show that with social media, people do have the power to organize and stand up to the system. It goes both ways, though. You have things like the Capitol storming, and things like what's going on with stocks right now. Isn't this technically illegal market control? I also like how it's done by an app that's named after a fairy tale about taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Yeah, way to reference the Robinhood mission statement there. Here's a link from Twitter by Paul Kevin Heinen. It says, Citadel is a hedge fund that owns Melvin Capital Management. Melvin is a GameStop short seller, predicted to lose billions due to people taking the free market back. Citadel owns the app Robinhood. Citadel banned purchases of new GameStop shares on Robinhood, market manipulation. The relatively tiny SEC fines will be much less than the billions lost if it continues, so they're doing blatant market manipulation. Hold strong Wall Street bets. Edit. By the way, the Federal Reserve Chair during the 2008 financial crisis, Ben Bernanke, is currently Citadel's senior advisor, so they know how they can get away with it. I forgot who or where I posted this, but I hope it helps. that statement's always convenient. I forgot where I got this from. Yeah, they are preventing us from buying, but of course, the option for us to sell. Meanwhile, the hedge funds are shorting the stock and are watching it nosedive with no way to fight back, being market manipulators. It's apparently not illegal since they are only restricting trades based on X requirement, not fully banning them. Loopholes, people. It's how they get you. It's absolutely illegal. They're helping short sellers by artificially keeping the price down on various stocks by restricting access, not just GameStop and AMC, which is market manipulation. I have stock in CTRM and can't purchase more shares of it right now. These bastards. Quick context here. Normally on Robinhood, the only time that you can't buy a stock but you can sell it is when something is happening with the company structure itself. So the company's gone bankrupt, it's lost all of its value completely, and that's why people are so outraged. It's because this isn't normal to not be able to buy a stock because of intense fluctuation, even though there's actual rulings that, like the SEC has, that you have to limit access to kind of ease intense fluctuations and delay it. So it's very likely Robinhood will restore access at some point, but who knows? We'll see. Back to comments. And a reminder, these are comments online. They're not my opinion. I'm just reading them. If the penalty for a crime is a fine, then the law only exists if you are poor. Isn't it technically illegal market control? Not sure I fully understand it, but isn't Robinhood just restricting it on their platform? You can't sell a little either. They're supporting closing positions only. That means that if you have GameStop stock and you just bought a little bit more of it, you have to sell all of it. You can't sell just a little bit. How is it legal to allow you to buy but restrict the ability to sell? That's not what they're doing, but that does happen on Robinhood. They're restricting your ability to buy and not allowing you to, and they're allowing you to sell. That's what's happening. Lots of investments work like this. It tends to lower their price significantly. And GameStop is now down 55% this morning. Looks like it's working, in quotation marks. From this perspective, they basically took out the access of most of the individuals who were able to buy the stock and make it more valuable, basically, right? So that's why people are angry. Reminder to all to hold. So ignoring the morality of the manipulation side, why should people hold a stock which is obviously massively overvalued? Should it not eventually decrease in value even without manipulation? GameStop is not a rising company. It's not necessarily on the cusp of complete failure, but it is in no way valued at the price it currently carries. Context problem here is that stock market doesn't accurately represent absolutely performance of a company, and also a lot of people who make a lot of money on the stock market have a lot of money in companies failing. That's a reality. It's not necessarily on the cusp of complete failure regarding GameStop, but it is in no way valued at the price that it currently carries. It is certainly not this valuable, but what happened is that a hedge fund shorted their stock and made a huge bet that they would be worth a lot less, essentially bankrupting GameStop. Basically, the short was the hedge fund sold the stock at a high price and then promised to buy it back in the future, expecting the price to be lower and earning a profit off the stock. But some autists on Wall Street bets, and for reference, autists, when you're referring to Wall Street bets, they use that to refer to each other all the time in a you are a brother, you are a sister way. I understand that's an offensive word. Normally you shouldn't call someone autistic, but they often do it quite lovingly, just for reference there. But some autists on Wall Street bets noticed this and decided to buy the stock, driving the price up. The hedge fund still has to buy back the stock, and now the price is super inflated. And once they start buying the stock back, the price is really going to shoot up. The stock is currently being shorted by the hedge fund behind all of it. I hate it when people say that. A short is when you rent a share from someone for a certain amount of time, sell, and then hope to buy it back at a lower price before you give it back to the person you rented it from. The risk to shorting is when the rental comes due, you have to buy it back. It doesn't matter if it's more valuable. What Wall Street Bets is doing is buying up all the stock and pushing the price up, so the shorter has to pay the inflated price. This is how buyers intend to make money. They aren't allowing you to buy anymore, but you own the stock now thanks to them, so they can't exactly force you to keep it. Don't they have a $50,000 daily limit on how much you can sell? I could be entirely wrong. I think that's probably like a withdrawal limit. I put a buy order in last night, and it was canceled this AM, and GameStop isn't listed on my app anymore. Yeah, it's because they suspended it. For those of us who are a little out of the loop, you're talking about trying to run GameStop into the ground before Redditors started buying it up, right? Also, when you say shares they borrowed, does that mean they previously shorted GameStop shares and didn't want to lose that investment? Or does it mean something else? That means, that means they had tons of money to lose. Whenever, if you are a company and venture capitalists and people with tons of money make bets that you will fail, it's a total self-fulfilling prophecy. It puts the environment of the world really far against you and greatly increases the chances you're not going to make it, and effectively causes a choke on the chances of the company succeeding. That's not the only reason to explain GameStop, but just understand the context here of what it means when multi-million-dollar interests want you, your company, to fail. And if you don't, they're going to lose millions of dollars. That's the reality. Which is fucked. It's totally messed up, isn't it? So normally you shouldn't be able to buy more than 100% of available shares. Therefore, you are also prohibited from shorting more than 100% of the available shares. They promised to buy eventually 140% or so of the shares. That's the first red flag. By shorting the stock, they hope to essentially buy 100% of them stupid cheap, making a hefty profit before the shares became worthless, essentially bankrupting the company, paying nothing for that extra 40% minus some interest, walking away with maybe a minuscule fine and billions in profit. The downfall is when those shares are already owned by others, and because of that, the price goes up. Wall Street Bets pulled the rug out from under them before they could complete their promise, which will force them by law to pay for every single owned share at their now inflated price. Gotcha. Is there a certain time when they have to pay this inflated price, or can they just hold on to their shorts until the price goes back down? Well, sort of, if they get the equivalent of sent to collections. The brokers that loaned them know what they're worth and will liquidate them before, theoretically, they could no longer pay them back. However, the firm in charge of managing 40% of the New York Stock Exchange is backing them financially, and is using every trick it can to force the stock to be lower again. This same company also backs Robinhood financially and demanded Robinhood ban all future sales of this stock. Major conflict of interest, and illegal activity ongoing. They borrowed shares and sold them over and over until they had borrowed the equivalent of 40% of available shares. If they win, they can buy back those shares at pennies on the dollars or not at all. Yeah, and so just for reference, it's illegal. You're not supposed to short more than what's available. That's illegal in a lot of other stock exchanges. It's really tricky in the U.S., but it's like downright a crime in other places, and it's not really in the U.S. Lol, this is a short ladder attack, which is also illegal. They are shaking out of all of the stop-loss orders. They are shaking out of all of the panic sellers. This proves how desperate they are. This proves that the short squeeze is imminent. This may be the actual short squeeze happening right now, and you're either already in or you're out. Then again, it might not happen until next week. This is not investment advice. The comment said that. I also say, this is not investment advice. If you want to get involved in Robinhood and waste some money, do that of your own accord, not because you saw this video. Almost every platform is restricting trade in these stocks in some form or another. That's not really true. A very few number have outright banned buying of the stock. Most have just restricted margin access to the stock, which makes sense because of the extreme volatility. I just want to confirm I haven't missed anything. I literally said restricting, and then you said I'm wrong, they're just restricting. You're making it sound like Robinhood is doing something similar to the other brokers, though. They genuinely disabled support for the stock on Robinhood. I go to the GameStop stock in my Robinhood app, and it says, this stock is not supported on Robinhood. That's different. The end goal of all this is price manipulation. In my book, not that different. I disagree. This is a drastic change from just restricting margin access. Margin allows you to buy stocks using borrowed money you don't actually have. Today, Robinhood prevented you from using your own money to buy stock. If you think both of those are the same, I don't know what to tell you. Owning a platform that allows people to buy and sell stocks comes with some responsibility to those people and the markets that you are providing access to. Could they not let you sell as well? Hey, can you buy this stock, but tomorrow you might not be able to sell? Well, they couldn't. Why would they ban you selling? They want you to sell because they want to devalue the fake value. Like, come on. And like, is it even fake? Like, really? this is me interjecting here. We live in a world where items in video games have value. You can trade dollars for stuff in video games. And it's true that stocks are meant to represent the performance of a company. But the reality is a company is a little player in a very, very big world. And there's a lot of big powers in this world that have more control over things. Nobody really controls everything. The world's too chaotic for that. Don't buy that bullshit. But, that is a reality. So it's going to be very interesting. These events are going to cause a lot of litigation, a lot of regulation, a lot of media coverage, arguing. Get ready for it, right? If you haven't seen that tidal wave yet, 2 million Reddit accounts in a couple days? Oh god, that's insane. And they're all commenting like active. They're fucking real people. Like, oh my god. Back to the comments. I was more talking about it legally. Same legally, being a private company does not give them carte blanche to do whatever they want with their platform in this instance. There are numerous laws and regulations that they have to follow. I was talking about legally. Pretty sure a platform that allows people to buy and sell stocks is required to follow a bunch of regulations. Yeah, and some of those regulations mean they prohibit access to the stock, from what I understand. They're supposed to. It pushes out these events and makes them less chaotic. The sup plug says it would be if it wasn't someone rich and powerful doing it. But no, it's not, because it is. We will see. Depends on which politicians they own. It's clear they own the media based upon the reporting, which should be a surprise based upon how terrible the media always is. It's definitely manipulation. And one of Robinhood's biggest investors just so happens to be the hedge that bailed out Melvin Capital. Golly, what a coincidence. Robinhood provides user data for money to Citadel. Citadel lent Melvin Capital money to cover their shorts. Citadel said bye-bye to contract with Robinhood if you don't pull meme stocks. Yeah, not even technically. It's blatant market manipulation. Robinhood sells your trading data to the same hedge funds who short the market. They're literally in bed together to fuck over their users so their hedge fund customers can make money. Robinhood is a private company. They can do what they like, legally. But I agree, this is a shitty gray area. Yeah, but they know the punishment will be far, far less than what would happen if they didn't do it. Yeah, time to sue them civilly in a massive class action. Also, time for Merrick Garland to press some charges. What Robinhood did is illegal in the free market system. Dig deep. Hedge fund managers, 70 billion deep. Crocodile tears. When a particular stock has huge volumes of trade occurring, the Robinhood app will stop supporting new buys because they can't guarantee buy or sell values, and they allow sell values to be used to buy other stocks before the sell actually occurs. They are skimming fees up and down and now picking winners and losers. Robinhood has been fined millions for poorly executed trades losing people money. This may be something they have to stay within guidelines, put them on after that. This isn't poorly executed. It's a short squeeze many people knew about for months, and the people actually doing the shorting for 3 years. They were doing this because GameStop got famous and algorithms set to amplify, GameStop stock got famous and algorithms set to amplify and capitalize started doing their thing. If you're going to trust your investments to a bot, then you when the bot breaks. It might be, but in any case, it is very stupid by Robinhood because it is very likely the Wall Street bets scheme would have collapsed today on its own. As much as people are claiming they are doing it to take down a big bad hedge fund, eventually people would have gotten antsy, especially if they were sitting on a particularly large gain, and the sell-off would have occurred without enough Wall Street bets investors to pick up the slack. I mean, preventing people from buying the stock on margin? Sure. But they can't even buy it with their own money? Now they all allow the Wall Street bets idiots to legitimately play the victim card? Quick interjection here. Don't underestimate how many individuals, like, if you look at these forums and stuff, there's a lot of people who are talking about how they just had some money to throw at it and they just want to say F you corporations. And that's it. They don't care if they lose everything. They're not even like conspiring to make money. It's like for them, it's like a political statement. And it's big. A lot of people are making that statement. A lot of people are voting that way. You have me accept that the ridiculous short interest in GameStop stock doesn't end today or tomorrow. With the volume of impending margin calls, it is way too early to buy. People buy and these firms will have DD on naked shorts. Do we have proof they have naked shorts outside of Wall Street Bets claims? I've seen articles mentioning the naked shorts theory due to shorting interest. Interjection, the naked shorts theory is when going naked is when you go past 100% of that previous metric. It's when you borrow more of the available stock. That's naked, okay? But that could also be caused by legal trading strategies. If there really were hedge funds that could potentially lose a combined $10 to $20 billion in the next 36 hours by having to close their naked short positions on GameStop with a stock in the $400 to $500 range, someone would have written an article about it. Edit. A tweet on S3 analysis claiming that the shorting interest is not caused by naked shorts, but legal trading practices. So this was a lie that Wall Street Bets used to help sell the stock. Le Piano Dentist said, has a broker ever before in history banned purchases while allowing sales? Surely this is straight up price manipulation. Aren't there laws against this kind of thing? He's referencing, again, context. It's much more common for the opposite to happen, where you can buy a stock, but you can't sell it. Actually, that's not true. Neither of them is that common. Laws are to prevent poor people from damaging or stealing the property of the wealthy. Poor people are stealing money from the rich. Therefore, the law must be on their side. Yeah, this appears to be in violation of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, particularly Section 9. I say appears because I am not a lawyer. I say appears as the person reading this because I'm not a lawyer. I am just a person reading a comment about somebody saying they're not a lawyer. Again, don't take advice from this. This is a bunch of crazy lunatics talking about stuff, and some of them are really cool people who know what they're talking about, and who knows what I'm reading. Robinhood doesn't care. They make money by selling their user data to the hedge funds who shorted these stocks, GameStop, BB, etc. If you've ever seen the quote about the in-group, which the law protects but doesn't bind, and the out-group, which the law binds but doesn't protect, this is a great example. And those same people, they have a huge portion of the out-group indoctrinated and radicalized to think they are part of the in-group, keeping the bulk of humanity divided and weak enough to keep it going. I don't know the technical terms, but I own a stock caller in Telesat that only allows me to sell my position. The price plummeted since I bought it, so I assume it has something to do with that. Robinhood itself did this last year for the MoviePass stock. The stock was essentially worthless, but eventually I found that I could only sell my shares and could not buy anymore. I had the same thing happen to me when I invested in a sketchy Chinese stock after they got in trouble. Not the same thing, but it does happen. For AMC at least, it wasn't Robinhood that stopped trades. It was the New York Stock Exchange itself. It dropped more than 30% as soon as the market opened, triggering a circuit breaker. You know, stop talking about things you don't know. Robinhood stopped allowing people to buy AMC. That caused the slide, which triggered the circuit breaker, which stopped all the trading. Yeah, people arguing about A equals B, other one saying B equals C. Guys, come on, it's the alphabet. You're wrong. Robinhood banned both buys of GameStop, AMC, NOC, and BB and hid them from search. Stop shilling for corporatists. Man, if you ever needed a clear sign that the game is fixed against the normal folk, here you are. The people can only participate when the billionaire class crashes the entire economy. We pay the tab. It's almost like they've stacked the deck against the middle class. What about the lower class? Alright everybody, that's it for this video. If you like this kind of content, please like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you to do all three because honestly I'd rather you just watch a couple other videos and, you know, interact. If you want to subscribe and all that, that's cool. But if you watch multiple of my videos and you don't subscribe, well, that means that I'm not doing a good enough job, doesn't it? So I don't want to beat it down your throats to subscribe because we're a whole team of people here and we'll get to you guys at some point. We'll find you. If you want to make content like this using a tool that makes it easier to explore the internet and display content on your screen and use that to make informative, reactive, whatever kind of content on YouTube, and also have a thumbnail generation that allows you to be creative while speeding up and streamlining the process, please reach out to us. We are developing all of these softwares, and I use these things to create these videos in reaction to trends the same day the trend happens. You can get an edited, scripted, or whatever you want, not scripted, you know, in this case, it's scripted by other people, you know. We have the glory of communities sharing comments together, and I guess that's the script, right? And then my bullshit that I interrupt you guys from reading it with. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to get in touch with us, get our email from the About page on this YouTube channel. You got to do one of those CAPTCHA things and it's kind of lame, but once you get the email, just say hello and say you want to have a Zoom call because we're looking for people who want to talk to our faces. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Ciao!